Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jake Pryor, your host for today's episode. First up, we have a new segment where we'll be taking you outside the grounds to see how our Scotchies spent Anzac Day. After that, we'll be going behind the tartan to explore the school's connection to Anzac Day. Finally, Seb Cox will kick off the first ever Rate My Plate. Let's get into it. Welcome to today's Behind the Tartan. Today we have a very special guest who has been to over 100 countries. He once had a dog called Fluffy, and he's a Canadian.
A very proud Canadian.
Proud Canadian.
Very proud.
Whether or not you guessed it, it's Mr. David Albano. So, Mr. A, first question. What do you do on Anzac Day each year?
Well, it depends on when it lies. If it's at school, myself and Miss Xavier put on the Anzac Day ceremony here at school. If it does run into the weekend like we did this year, and most years, to be honest, we try to get out to the dawn service and just commemorate the nature of what the day is all about.
Yep. Every year, a group of school leaders go to Centennial Park to lay flags. Could you explain the significance of this event and of Scotch's connection to Centennial Park?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to first admit this was a very hard thing to find out. So I actually had to utilize my historian skills to get to the bottom of how this all started. Scotch College used to have a cadet corps. And before the pipe band was officially formed, individual pipers played at significant parades and events across South Australia. So the 27th Battalion, which was a South Australian regiment with a Scottish connection, they wore kilts and the Tartan Scotch pipe band, the same one they wear today. So there was that initial connection. Interestingly, they were known as Unley's Own, and they fought significant battles at Gallipoli, Pozieres, and the Somme. Scotch cadets were drilled by the 27th Battalion. Some of the 27th Battalion actually were old scholars from Scotch. So a tradition grew to send a solo piper to Centennial Park on November 11th, which is Remembrance Day. But Malcolm Massey, my predecessor as head of faculty for history, then offered them a whole band, the whole Caledonian, the drums, the bagpipes. And from there, Scotch was offered a speaking role every second year. And we share that with Walford still to this day. The 27th Battalion veterans asked for more student involvement as they started to get older and became too frail to plant memorial crosses. They offered the crosses to Scotch to lay, and the laying of crosses and putting flags on all the graves became a community project started by our old head of senior school, Dale Bennett, for the year 12 leaders. And this has since expanded to increase involvement from all aspects of students, from year levels down from the junior school to the middle school to the senior school.
What do you think is the most important quality of a Anzac Day soldier we should embody today?
Well, I'm going to go for the easy one, and you might laugh or think I'm taking the easy one, but I'm going to explain. I think the most important quality of an Anzac soldier for us to embody today is the idea of mateship. And I think to explain that, it's a profound sense of loyalty, companionship, and selfless support for each other. And I think at Scotch, we do all of those things really, really well. But I think the most important thing is to do those things regardless of the consequences, because we know for the soldiers that some of the consequences would have been losing their lives. And I'm not suggesting anybody at Scotch lose their life over a battle, but standing up for things that others won't stand up for, being that one person to call out the bad behavior of others or to stand up for that one person who needs somebody to stand up for. And I think, the Anzac spirit is defined by a combination of traits. It's courage, it's endurance, it's ingenuity, it's a good sense of humor, right? So I think mateship is often considered the foundation that binds it all together, all of those individual qualities.
As we know, the school has a connection to World War One. Could you please explain the link with Torrens Park House and World War One?
Excellent. This is another question that I had to research to get a clearer understanding. So thank you for asking that question, because I feel now more informed. The connection between Torrens Park House and Scotch College and World War One is a rich and layered one. You want the full story?
Yep, go ahead.
Let's go. So Torrens Park started as a military hospital. Okay, in May 1915, Robert Barr Smith, you've heard that name before, who had owned the Torrens Park estate since 1874, offered the property to the Australian Defence Department to become a military hospital for wounded soldiers. And there's actually a tunnel from the train station underneath the school to get here that we're not allowed to see anymore because it's not structurally sound, but it's an indicator that they brought the soldiers underground because of the nature of their wounds. They didn't want the public seeing those. But the house was used by the Commonwealth government for soldier accommodation and rehabilitation. And after Barr Smith's death in 1915, the house was still used by the government until it was sold in 1918. And that's really the founding of Scotch College as the war memorial that it is. And people don't realize that Scotch is a war memorial. In 1919, in the aftermath of World War I, which the world had hoped they would never see again, but unfortunately they did, benefactors and elders within the Presbyterian Church in South Australia came together to fund a new school that would be a memorial to the sons of Scotland who had lost their lives in World War I. So in 1918, a guy named Dr. J.A. Seymour, who was the minister of Chalmers Church, discovered that Kyra College in Unley Park was on the market. The church decided to take out a 2-year lease, and the college opened as Kyra Scotch in 1919, with the first headmaster being Norman Grattan. So we get the idea where the Grattan building comes from now. They moved to Torrens Park. In 1920, the college moved to Torrens Park Estate, and the name was changed to Scotch College. And by 1918, both Robert and his wife, Joanna, had passed away, and the estate was subdivided by their executors, and sold. The remaining estate, including obviously Torrens Park House, served as a military hospital during World War I before being acquired in 1919 by trustees for Scotch College, which opened there in February of 1920. And then obviously the World War legacy was literally built into the new school's fabric. Upon arrival, the founding headmaster Norman Grattan adopted the Victorian mansion, which is Torrens Park House, for educational use, repurposing army huts from World War I as classrooms and workshops. The coach house is a science laboratory, and the stables, which are now the art room there, as a gymnasium to accommodate the boys' college. So, I mean, to put it frankly, its connection is deeply intertwined. Torrens Park House served the war effort directly as a rehabilitation facility for wounded soldiers, and then the school that took it over was itself founded as a living memorial to those who never came home. The very army huts left behind from the war became the first classrooms of the new school, making the physical and symbolic links almost inseparable.
If you could describe Anzac Day as a symbol, what would it be and why?
I think for me, it's the idea of endurance as a symbol that Anzac Day really, and sadly, every year we celebrate it, we seem to add another war that soldiers are remembered for on Anzac Day. But it's about the endurance of the Anzac spirit. It's the endurance about Australia as a nation. It's an endurance about all the great that we've developed here as a nation, but also our willingness sort of self-reflect. Part of enduring is recognizing the things we may get wrong from time to time and addressing that and making us a stronger and more united nation as a part of that and as a result of that. So I would suggest a symbol of endurance, that we're still here, we're not going anywhere, and we have a proud defense force that has allowed us to live the lives we live today.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us today, Mr. Albano. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.
When the stars make you drool, just like a pasta fazool, that's amore.
Welcome to Rate My Plate. Now today I've got 3 very special items from the canteen. We have a beautiful warm garlic bread. We've also got their signature spring roll. And of course, to finish off the feed, we have a beautiful crunchy choc chip cookie. Now, I don't eat these the normal way. First of all, cookie, garlic bread, warm up the cookie. While that happens, Let's try this spring roll. What's good about these, they're not too oily. Perfect amount of crispness, and you can taste the chicken inside. And I'm so glad they're chicken spring rolls and not veggie spring rolls, because veggie spring rolls are not it. Let's go over to this garlic bread. Now, these, they've kind of formed them like a sandwich. So I feel like they're telling you to put something inside of it. So what we do is we then get the spring roll, we put the spring roll inside the garlic bread, and then we've got that softness and garlicky flavor mixed in with the chicken crunch. So basically, it's like a chicken garlic sandwich. That is the only way to ever eat a spring roll from the canteen. The spring roll on its own, I'm going to give that 7 out of 10 Donnies, all right? When you put it inside of the garlic bread goes from a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10, and the spring roll is now a 10 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10 combo. I'm going to finish that later. Then, what we've done is we have warmed up the cookie with the hot garlic bread. We got to start thinking smart. Now, these cookies are great because they're not too soft, they're not too crumbly, they're just perfection. Let's go into this. So, that's a 9 out of 10 Donnies. That's fantastic. Here, have some ASMR chewing audio. Thanks for coming to Rate My Plate. 10 out of 10 combo, 9 out of 10 cookie. Head over to the canteen and go get something fantastic to eat for recess and or lunch. Mwah.
When the stars make you drool, just like a pasta fazool, that's amore.
Thank you for watching today. We will see you next episode.